This is Cruise Control.
Your on-air automotive magazine with co-hosts Fred Staab and Les Jackson. Everything you need to know about new and used cars. Industry news. We'll fix or repair your car on the air. Fasten your seatbelts and let us take the wheel. Now, your ride is about to begin. Because you're on Cruise Control. Cruise Control. Cruise Control.
And welcome to Cruise Control. That's right, your on-air automotive magazine. It's Fred Staab and Les Jackson. Les, how you doing?
Good. How are you this fine, rather warm summer day?
I am fine, and I am ready to go with some great stories. And we're starting with comebacks, or potential comebacks. Could the Cuda, Capri, and Spark return to the highways?
I would welcome that. And for those who aren't aware, those used to be cars.
Remember the Spark? It was a good. It was
absolutely
cheap and cheerful. Cheap and cheerful car, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, happy cars. Is what I like
happy, inexpensive, get around town car.
That's right. And unhappy cars are Fiskers, and they're banding together to lawyer up with all the trials and tribulations going on.
Yeah.
I guess there's really no way around that.
No. Hey, everyone has to be represented in a bankruptcy, and they're basically worried about their car turning into a brick if the software goes down, if the servers go down. They can't even open their windows if it loses connection with the internet. That's pretty bad. But
that's bad.
Yeah, it sounded the downside of technology. So we'll talk about that, and then also talk about cheap and cheerful. The Kia Soul, the 2025 model is out, and we'll tell you about pricing. Great first car, don't you think?
It is a great first car. I highly recommend it. And speaking of first cars, and naturally when we talk about cars for college students going off, we talk about small cars because they make sense. And not all SUVs. Small car sales are booming. So hey, get on the bandwagon.
Okay. And BMW is cutting a crossover. Yep, X4 is going away. They just have too many crossovers in their lineup. We'll tell you about what will replace it and what's going on with that. And then you're going to talk tech a little bit, right?
Yes, indeed. Going the four-wheel low on the fly. That's tricky. It's a very tricky system.
Yep, absolutely. And I am also going to have an at-the-wheel review of what they call the GTI with a trunk. This is the Jetta GLI Autobahn edition. Really nice vehicle. And we'll have a full at-the-wheel review of that a little bit later on Cruise Control. Cool stuff, and we are glad you're along for the ride on all of that. Fred Staab and Les Jackson. We will be right back on Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. So stay tuned.
Cruise Control.
And welcome back to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. Hey, remember the Cuda?
Oh, yeah, not the Barracuda, the Cuda.
Absolutely. The Cuda was the, early 70s super high-powered Cuda. And the name, and I'm stressing, the name looks like it's coming back. But I wouldn't expect that it'll be a retro vehicle. it's probably going to be a trim level or a special edition of future model of some
Dodge Charger,
Stellantis,
maybe.
Charger, probably something like a Charger.
Yeah.
Which is great. I like names that harken back to cool stuff.
This comes from carbuzz.com, and they always have people in the trademark office. And it could be that they're just renewing their right to that name, or it could be that it will be a new trim level of the Dodge Charger when we start seeing that. So I don't know. I think they certainly, the brand would certainly like to bring that back, don't you?
Well, they would. And they're pretty good at it. So,
yeah.
Now,
now, also, Ford is talking about bringing back the Capri as an EV, potentially a four-door Mustang. That's what they're talking about. There's some discussion about that. That's been kicked around a little bit. And
now the Capri here was, a good selling car. I actually owned one. But not like Europe. Europe fell in love with the Capri.
And then remember, it became Mercury's Mustang after that. I mean, when the European model went. I like the European model. I thought it was a very cool-looking car. You had one, you said, right?
I did, yeah.
Yeah. What was that power with, a straight six?
It was well, you could get a V6, but most of them were the little inline four. Actually, zippy, but not fast.
Very European looking, though. Very cool.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I like that. And then, not to be outdone, GM, there's some talk of the Spark coming back. Now, this is kind of interesting. The Chevy Spark, of course, was a gas-powered, very small car. Now, this is also from CarBuzz. They have uncovered a trademark that suggests it might be coming back as an even smaller electric vehicle, smaller than the Bolt, which would be interesting. But this is strangely, the trademark was uncovered in Laos, Lao People's Democratic Republic. Could it mean they're going to build it there?
Oh, I would say yes, certainly.
And then they can sell it for what, like $500?
I think about $30. No, it would be probably less than $10,000. I'm going to guess.
So could this be to battle BYD, Build Your Dreams? The Chinese company.
Yeah, I think so.
The Spark was a fun little car. It really was. It was a quirky little small car, and I do think people would like. That's a great second car. That's which is fine to even take on long trips and that, but it's a perfect runabout for around town, right?
Yeah, and it gets great mileage. You can park it anywhere.
Yeah.
I liked driving them. I tested a couple of them.
Yeah, they had a 3-cylinder, I believe, didn't they?
Yeah. It was plenty. Again, peppy.
Yeah, peppy enough, and suited the purpose.
Yeah.
Cheap and cheerful, right?
No, happy.
Happy, yeah.
A happy little car.
It had a starting price, believe it or not, of around $15,000, and it was discontinued only back in 2022. Interesting. Well, I think we might see that as the return of a very inexpensive electric car to fight the Chinese imports. Well, we'll have to see.
And it would be appropriately named.
Yes, Spark is.
Yeah.
The arc.
They didn't. Yeah, that's right. The short.
The short. The short.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, yeah, the fact that they called the Bolt the electric car and the Spark the gas-powered car instead of vice versa.
Yeah. And then, of course, they had the Volt, which was a good name for an electric car, but it wasn't completely an electric car. It was but that's not there anymore, unfortunately. But anyway, when we come back, we're going to talk about more electric cars, and that is the Fisker, how the owners are banding together to, keep their vehicles on the road. We'll talk to you soon.
Cruise Control.
Welcome back to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. Yeah, sad story about Fisker. Of course, it continues on. They're bankrupt. They're having to recall virtually every car. Yet Fiskers remain. And it's interesting. I went on the Fisker website last night, and I thought, well, are they still available for sale, right? The company's bankrupt.
Right.
There's no spares. There's hard to get parts. They are. There was one place, it must have had like 30 of them, selling them for $68,000. That was the launch edition. So what's interesting, I came across this on Auto Evolution. One California dealer just sold a 2023 Fisker Ocean One launch edition, fully loaded, one of 5,000 units produced on the launch spec for $26,258.
Cutting his losses.
And as I said, this vehicle has 564 horsepower, 543 pound-feet of torque, a range of 360 miles, 0 to 60 in 3.7 seconds. Those are quite nice specs, aren't they?
Tremendous specs. I mean, impressive. But how long will it run before the central brain starts hemorrhaging? Yes,
that brings us to our next piece here, and it is about this comes from Inside EVs. Fisker owners are lawyering up to keep their cars running. There is a Fisker Group owners group that has filed a lawsuit, and they want to get in on the bankruptcy because they want their vehicles to keep running. It's the Fisker Owners Association, or FOA, 2,000 members. They want to help keep their Ocean in running order. They paid $70,000 for these things. And the problem is everything in the car has to go through the server, I would imagine, so you can have a remote for your windows and things like that. So everything goes through the server. And this is a big problem. If they shut this down, you won't be able to open things like the sunroof or the doggy windows, which are the little windows by the lift gate to let air in for dogs. And you know, even the cellular service that's provided by T-Mobile is another concern that supports things like navigation. There's some talk that these things would become a big brick. So they're banding together, and there is hope because one company is looking to buy the whole inventory of Fisker cars. They're a leasing company, and they lease to car services. So there's some talk that they might put the remaining vehicles, however many thousand of them, into the car service business, and they would have to support a lot of these features, and they may do that for Fisker owners to keep the servers running, to keep these cars running, because they are leasing these cars. 3,000, they're looking to buy 3,000 of them. This leasing, American Lease, a company in New York, 3,000 Oceans for up to $46.25 million. So a Delaware bankruptcy court judge still needs to approve that deal. But if they do that, they would provide these services to the other owners because those 3,000 cars that they bought have to keep running. But
Right.
it's truly, when you think about this, you are dependent on that company staying in business, because if they go out of business, you might not be able to like get in your car, right?
Absolutely. That's a real downside of all the high tech, especially electric vehicles. And when everything is just a one brain, and I mean, I know the software engineers must be somewhere, but you've got to get to them to figure out how to fix these things. I would imagine this leasing company is looking for those engineers and will probably hire them.
And they're also getting access to proprietary code that will
Right.
allow them to make future updates and do over-the-air updates and keep the cellular service running and things like that. Let me ask you, would you buy one of these for $26,000?
I would be afraid to, because yeah, it'd be great for maybe a year or two driving it that cheap, but now it breaks, and I can't fix it myself, and I can't get anyone to fix it. So
Right.
so now it just sits in the driveway, and I could have bought a Sentra for the same $26,000, and it'll last 200,000 miles.
You could have had a V8.
Could have had well, yeah.
Well, remember the case where somebody had a small accident and they said, "Oh, we have to replace." I think it was the lift gate in the back, and they couldn't find it, so
Yeah.
they just scrapped the whole car, which was more valuable as parts, because if you need parts, these are like brand new parts, So, sad news. I really
It
do
is.
hope someone picks up these designs and say, "Hey, we've got a good starting point design of
Yep.
these vehicles." You would think someone would, right? Do that,
I hope so.
but I'm not sure they will. They also had the Pear, which was going to be their small car. Seems like a perfect
Right.
opportunity for someone to
Right.
grab that and run with it. And they also had the Alaska, which was a pickup truck with a mid-gate, another perfect opportunity for someone to pick that up. And the Ronin, which was a four-door convertible, with wing doors. So I
That's
think
a
these
little
just
out there.
little out there. I think out of all of them, that one probably wouldn't be built. Well, let's go to a company that is not having financial problems by any means, and that is Kia. We got some pricing on the new Kia Soul 2025. Not a lot of new features, but it doesn't matter. These things start at $20,290 and that's not including the $1,375 destination for LX, and then they top out with the top of the line EX at $24,590, so just slightly over $25,000 when you add in the destination. The updates for this year basically are a special edition, a Soulmate special edition with exclusive 18-inch alloy wheels, umber interior color. What's umber? Is that like a
Umber is like a burnt sienna
Burt Sienna? Okay.
ish. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I think.
Two-tone roof, Harman Kardon premium audio, lower body cladding, and Syntex and cloth seating. Good pricings on this model, and certainly it's been
Good
around
price.
for a while. It gets in the 30s for fuel economy. Highway, EPA estimated 35 miles to the gallon highway. No all-wheel drive, but hey, a great first car just the same, isn't it?
Well, it's ideal. People, especially young people, love these things.
Yeah, I think it's a great car if someone looking for a second car or just a reliable car that can haul things, and it's a box. It's one of the last of the boxes, right? We had Scions,
That's right.
we had
Right.
Nissan,
Kicks.
the Cube, all that, but last of those. But they've gotten a lot of mileage out of this vehicle, and they can offer it at a good price.
Yep.
standard 2-liter 4-cylinder, still gets 35 miles to the gallon. That's a good vehicle. I think that's one to put on your list. All the safety features too come with it. So, and you get a great warranty. So, the Kia Soul, pretty cool stuff. And it looks like a giant shoe. I always thought it looked like a sneaker.
Well, yeah, very much like the Honda Fit.
Yeah.
Yep.
Pretty cool stuff.
And it had the hamsters.
It had the hamsters, yeah. Well, when we come back, we got plenty more to go. Small car sales are booming. We'll tell you which ones are selling. And BMW cuts a crossover. Is it a trend, Les Jackson? Going back to cars. We'll see. On Cruise Control.
Cruise Control.
And welcome back to Cruise Control. I have good news for me. which not just me, a whole lot of people, but it turns out we've just learned that that small car sales are booming. Small cars, sedans, with 4 doors. They're booming, and I personally am very happy about this. I think people are recognizing that cars are preferable in a lot of cases to spending effort and space and more money on SUVs.
Yeah.
So that's great. And by the way, we our friend Glenn down at the shop that we work on classic cars, we hosted 2 17-year-old guys there Monday, and they were telling us everybody they know love small, mostly hot hatchbacks and that sort of thing. They all love them.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So
it makes sense. It makes sense. Well, let's look at some of the numbers. 2024 sales to date. Honda Civic. Remember, Honda Civic's getting a big update next year, but their sales are up 38%.
Wow.
That's good news.
Hey,
how are sales? Up 38%.
If you're the brand manager, you're in line for a big bonus.
Yes.
And as is true of the Kia Forte, that's 13%.
Yep. Nissan Sentra, 55%. I mean, Nissan stuck with sedans, and it's
that's right.
Paying back dividends, right?
And so much so that the Nissan Versa, 61%. I mean, we're getting, you're getting upwards of twice the sales that you were expecting.
Another great car, the Versa. Not high horsepower,
Absolutely.
but it's got a lot of stuff in it.
That's right.
And you can get a really nice one for around, 25, something like that?
Oh, easily, yeah.
Yeah. And, of course, the Toyota Corolla.
Yep.
Up 25%. So, I mean, is this a trend? It seems like a trend, doesn't it?
Certainly seems like it. Well, it kind of fits because people are realizing that they can't sustain their spending habits. And with the average household incomes or average household sale or purchasing of a new vehicle hitting $47,000, people are going, whoa.
Wait a minute.
Maybe there's an alternative.
What do I really need? I need something that's got safety features, Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, and reliable.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm excited about the Honda Civic Hybrid. That's going to be great.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about Stellantis. The news is not all good. Most of their American brands are doing very badly this year. But the Italian brands, such as Alfa Romeo, are doing very well. Their sales were up 8% in Q2 with 2,492 cars sold. And they were up slightly, about 2% year to date on their vehicles. And then Fiat is also doing well. Fiat is, of course, introduced the Fiat 500e. That is coming back. They don't have a lot Fiat to sell right now. The 500e will be good for them when it hits the stores. But it is such a cute car, I have to say. It is a
when you're talking,
it may be cheerful, it's not cheap.
Hundreds of vehicles rather than tens of thousands. It's not many vehicles, but
but Fiat sales were up 119% in Q2 with 316 cars sold. Basically, all they have is the 500X. And for all of 2023, Fiat sold only 605 cars. The newly introduced 500e sales increase of 16,200%. Well, it wasn't there. They didn't have that for years.
That's right.
That's just 204 units of the 500e sold so far this year. And that's the good news at Stellantis.
That's right. I've seen several 124 Spiders driving around, and they couldn't have sold many of those.
I wonder if that's a good fun car to buy, right? I mean, basically the Miata.
Oh, yeah.
But with their engine, with their 1.4-liter multi-air engine, Fiat's 1.4-liter multi-air engine, I think that would be great. But we'll have to see where Stellantis goes. I have a bad feeling that there might be brand dropping. I don't know.
Could be, yeah. And we don't know what their plans are.
Yeah. We do know what BMW's plans are. X4 going away. They're cutting it from the lineup. There's just too much overlap. The X2's growth, which has been much more affordable, smaller vehicle, once again, less trends coming in here. No third generation of the X4, but they have the X2, the X3, which they just redid, the X6. I mean, they just have a lot of these vehicles. The X4, which is kind of what they call that coupe shape or the rounded SUV, there's just too much overlap, and it was too expensive for people to buy. They're opting for the X2, so that will be going away at the end of the run of this generation of vehicle. I never was a big fan of that. It looked like someone cut the roof off of the X5 and welded on the car roof.
Yeah, kind of. It's not. It's kind of just doesn't look quite right.
No, it looks bottom heavy and top light. But hey, some people like it. I don't know how popular it is, but But the X2 being smaller and more affordable, I think that makes it. It kind of continues on the trend of being smaller is getting a lot more popular. So there you have it. Pretty interesting news. Hey, do you want to talk tech a little bit?
Why not? Let's do that.
So when you have an all-wheel drive vehicle or four-wheel drive vehicle and you want to go into low, you have to stop, basically, put the vehicle in neutral, then shift. And this is not going into four-wheel drive. It's four-wheel low, right? So you have to stop and let it engage, right?
Super, super low. So, going 10 miles an hour, your engine's revving practically all the way up. Yeah.
So this is from Motor Authority, I should say. Motor Authority. Patent application was published in the United States Patent and Trademark Office, not far from where Les is sitting, on June 4th.
Just down there.
2024. It was filed by Stellantis, and it says, in such a system, the two motors are used to synchronize the speed of the engine and transmission output shaft in order to execute smooth shifts into and out of low range while the vehicle is moving. One motor would be connected to the planetary gear set, central sun gear, and would apply torque to the gear shaft to moderate the engine speeds. The second motor could do the same for the transmission output shaft. Sensors would monitor the speeds of the engine, transmission output shaft, prop shaft, and wheels, sending instructions to the controller as necessary to ensure everything syncs up to engage low range while moving. Signals would be sent to rotate the low-range gear set to the same speed as the wheels, eliminating speed differential that normally makes shifting low-range driving difficult. Wow, that's a lot going on, isn't it?
Well, the fact is, I can picture how that's working. If you've ever been in a vehicle with a low range, you got to realize we're talking about, driving less than 20 miles an hour here.
And the engine's revving way up.
Engine's way up, and of course, if you try to do this without some kind of logic and proper system, you could break the low range really quickly.
Yeah, grenade it, as they say.
Yeah, yes, grenading. Or in the old California days, they used to call it lunching.
Have some lunch.
Yeah, that's right. Not going to go very well after that.
Yeah.
That's clever.
Yeah, sure is. It sure is. Well, I'll tell you what else is clever when we do At the Wheel reviews. We've got one coming up. This is the Volkswagen Jetta GLI Autobahn edition. We'll be giving it the full At the Wheel review treatment when we come back on Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine with Fred Staab and Les Jackson. Stay tuned.
Cruise Control.
And welcome back to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. Fred Staab and Les Jackson with you. Les, it is At the Wheel time. This is what they call at Volkswagen the Jetta GLI Autobahn edition. Some people also like to call it a GTI with a trunk. Beautiful, beautiful color here, the King's Red Metallic. Same color as the GTI that I reviewed a couple of weeks ago on Cruise Control. This is the 2024 model. It is going to be getting an update in 2025. We'll talk a little bit about that. Not big changes, so you might want to consider a 2024. Very interesting about the Jetta. All Jettas, not just the GLI, are very slick when it comes to the coefficient of drag. 0.28 for manual models.
Ooh.
And 0.27 for automatic. I would imagine that has to do something with the aerodynamics underneath. I don't know. To attain this, they all use active radiator shutters and curtain air intakes on each side, which will smooth the flow of air. So let's talk a little bit about this vehicle. Styling-wise, I've always felt it was a pleasing shape with very defined style lines on the side of the vehicle. They almost protrude in a straight line, and I think that serves two functions. It not only strengthens the door, but it certainly gives it a bold shadow line on the side, and that is nice. It is a sedan. Yes, it is a sedan with a trunk, and the silhouette is very recognizable. This model's been around for a while. It keeps getting updated, but it is certainly popular. The GLI model gets the 2-liter engine, 228 horsepower, which is a pretty significant upgrade from, I believe, 158 of the standard GLI. Unlike the Golf, we can still get a standard Jetta non-GLI model. Yes, it has a trunk. Yes, it has a sort of a fastback. and it has 4 doors, and it is a good-looking vehicle. On the inside, very premium feel. I like the perforated leather. It looks like it has a layer of red underneath it, so when they do the perforations, you see the edge of the red in the perforations. Nice stitching on the seats. Great dash. This has more, I would call it, traditional controls than the GTI. I like this kind of red and gray interior, the stitching on it, the detail work underneath where the speaker grill goes into the rest of the vehicle. A lot of piano black. It does have haptic controls on the steering wheel, but if you look over at the center console, it does have the traditional 3 knobs for air conditioning. Those are going to go away in 2025 and be replaced by the not-so-popular sliders. It has a tuning knob and a volume knob and an off button for the radio. We like that. That is a good thing. Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, heated steering wheel comes with all Jettas, which is a nice feature. This one had a manual. Yes, you move that lever around and you push the pedal in, and you can have fun with that. Out back, good room, a good supportive seat, same treatment, excuse me, with the red kind of stamped through perforations. Not much to speak of as far as things go. It looks like that had something there, maybe AC vents, but it wasn't there. Overall, clean interior. As I say, it's going to get restyled in 2025, and those 3 knobs will go away for the HVAC and be replaced by haptic controls, which many people might not like. Jettas always have a nice deep trunk. This was finished off okay, nothing special to write about, but still decent. You have remote seat latches, which are handy for the pass-through. And then underneath, the good news is you have a temporary spare with jack, which is always nice to check. Under the hood, it's got that 2-liter. I would say this under-hood treatment looks pretty nice. Nice engine cover, clean underneath this hood. A 2-liter engine with 228 horsepower, which is does a nice job of moving this sedan down the road. And you can get a 7-speed automatic gearbox for no additional charge. So it's actually a DSG DSG transmission. You have nice red calipers, attractive 18-inch wheels, which add to the look of the vehicle. And overall, just a clean-looking sedan. Up front for 2025, they're going to do a little bit different treatment. You can tell this is an Autobahn edition, by the way, by those red treatments, bezels around those, what I believe are brake cooling ducts. We loved it on the road. We loved the way the transmission shifted. It was easy to engage the clutch, very light clutch. So if you're not used to driving a manual, this could be a good one for you to learn on. It also has a great hill hold feature where you really don't have to do anything when you pull away from a hill. It applies the brakes just for a second. They come off. They delay a little bit as you push the clutch in, so you won't get a lot of that rollback, which you may find unsettling if you're not used to that. So let's talk price. So for this model, we had the King's Red Metallic, which was an upcharge of $395. Titan Black leather interior was no charge, and you could get either the manual transmission or the 7-speed DSG automatic with Tiptronic at no charge. Ours had the manual. So with all of that in, with destination, which is $1,150, the total price was $34,130, and you still get great mileage: 36 miles to the gallon on the highway, 26 city, and 30 mpg, which is not bad for a fun vehicle. Also, great overall score, 5 stars for this vehicle. Frontal crash for driver and passenger, 4-star, and front seat side crash, 5-star for both, and 4-star for rollover. So it's a safe vehicle. It comes with a lot of the safety assistant, the advanced airbags, the slip regulation, electronic brake pressure distribution, IQ driver features, travel assist, adaptive cruise control, lane assist, emergency assist, semi-automated vehicle assistance in a medical emergency, which is great. Front assist, front collision warning, and automatic autonomous emergency braking. Active blind spot monitor, rear traffic alert. So there's a lot going on here. I still kind of like this older interior, and the new one will be a mix. It will keep the traditional headlight controls, but those 3 knobs will go away and be replaced by the sliders, which are not really popular with a lot of people. As you know, they redesigned that GTI interior, and they're going back in the next edition of the GTI, which, by the way, will not have a manual, but the new Jetta GLI will continue to offer the manual, which is great if you're a manual fan. So you have an option. If you still like to row your own, you're probably going to have to go for the Jetta GLI Autobahn edition next year, because the GTI is just going to the 7-speed DSG as the standard transmission. So Jetta is a great vehicle. Even if you just want a regular sedan, the non-GLI version of it with the smaller engine, it's a great vehicle. It's safe, gets great mileage, roomy inside, definitely has the European flair to it, has all the safety gear, decent power, and I think it's one to look at. And it comes in that cool King's Red metallic, which is, I think, worth the $395, don't you? It is the
Nice
color clear coat. So you've got, it's a candy apple red, basically. That's what it is. So good deal. I still like the GTI personally. That's because I can get these scale paper plaid seats in that, and that doesn't come in the GLI, just the leather. But I like the hot hatch, and I don't know what the weight difference is between the two. I imagine it's, I don't know, 600, 700 pounds maybe.
I don't know. Probably not that much. Probably.
Well, have to look that up, and we'll find that out for you. Hey, we appreciate you listening to Cruise Control. Time for me to say I'm Fred Staab.
I'm Les Jackson.
We are going to see you down the road.
Bye-bye.